Introducing Meta Ray-Ban Display, the world's most advanced AI glasses. With a full color display built into the lens of the glasses, it's there when you need it and gone when you don't. Send and receive messages, translate or caption live conversations, collaborate with Meta AI, and more. Be one of the first to try Meta Ray-Ban Display. Visit meta.com/Meta Ray-Ban Display to book a demo and find your pair.
Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do. Do your work with ease and speed. PDF Spaces is all you need. Do hours of research in an instant with key insights from an AI assistant. Pick a template with a click. Now your prezzo looks super slick. Close that deal? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat. It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
There was before I saw this movie. There was after I saw this movie. Melissa, I love this movie.
There's just so many things that we love that are this movie.
Well, now I understand when you had like, I don't know if it was on recording, but like when you had the moment where you realized that we've never talked about this movie and you realized that you're like, if we've never talked about this movie, this means Megan's never seen this movie. And you were like, you're like, we have to watch this. Like, you're going to love this. And the entire time.
I hadn't seen it either.
Oh, but like you knew it existed. I didn't know it existed.
It's got two of our favorite actresses in it. It's about a heist. It's about women taking back power. So like, it has all the elements to be a great film.
It has 22% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's everything I look for. It has Roger Ebert, talking shit about how women are going to love this, but real men are going to say this is not so great, which is exactly what I want to hear from him in my reviews. Because that is a movie for me.
So, what movie are we talking about today, Megan?
We are talking about possibly one of the most criminally underrated feature films, the cinematic masterpiece that is Mad Money. 2008, 2006?
2008. It's a comedy crime film starring Diane Keaton, Queen Latifah, and Katie Holmes as three very different women who team up and pull off an unlikely heist. And I just want to say this is based on a true story.
It is?
Yes.
Oh, I love that. This is my first time seeing Katie Holmes in anything besides being attached to Tom Cruise.
That man she ran away from.
Thank God.
This is our second week doing a film with an ex of that man.
He's got like a poisonous seed. Like he spreads it around and infects people. But my God, from the opening of this movie, I was like, I literally wrote down, I'm hooked. It does my favorite thing that I think is, I'm adding a new requirement. So I have 2 Letterboxd lists. One of them was just Steal the Money movies. And now we have one for this podcast. But for Steal the Money movies, my classification, what makes a difference between a heist movie and Steal the Money movie is there needs to be girlies. And if there's not girlies, I need girly vibes. Like I need there to be like quirky characters. I need there to be outfits. Like I need there to be, I don't know, Nathan Lane. Like I need something that like, I need pep. I need zest. I need something fun and like personality driven. I don't need sad boy.
Yeah.
I also need, I need there to be a good soundtrack. I need montages. I prefer if the stealing of it comes from like a glamorous place. I don't want you like robbing like a dungeon. Like no. I need this. I need lights. I need flashy. I need the brightness. But now I want to add a new thing that I didn't even realize is also a criteria. I need the movie to start in the thick of it. And then we go back to figure it all out. Because as soon as that started, I said, ooh, they are laying the pieces and we're going to find out how we got here.
Yes. And throughout the whole film, they were giving us bits and pieces of what was happening, but we didn't know what was actually happening until the very end, which I also loved.
It reminded me a little bit of Hear Me Out. The beginning of it with all of the booby traps reminded me a little bit of Matilda.
Go further with that.
So you know when like Matilda is like the practical effects when she's like, you know, making her cereal or she's like doing like that. And if I had seen Home Alone, maybe I would also say it reminded me of Home Alone.
You haven't seen Home Alone?
No.
Going on our movie list for Christmas.
Here's the thing. There has never been anything enticing to me about a movie about a child who gets forgotten on Christmas. It's a little too close to home.
But what about a child that outwits criminals?
Yeah, I think I could watch it, but like that was what I knew about it as a kid. And I said, as someone who was woken up in their house alone on Christmas going, where is everybody? I was like, I don't need to watch Macaulay Culkin go through that. But now that I've like seen more about it, like I've seen clips of it. Back then it was only just about it. All I knew, it was a kid who got left on Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've seen more about it, I'm like, oh, I think I could actually watch that and enjoy it.
Okay.
So we should add it.
Yeah.
But prior to this, but it reminded me a little bit of Matilda with that. And I just love, I don't know, I love a booby trap. Like, yeah. I love when it's not just like we're having to like, I like when we have to like do a back bend to get away from like a laser. But like, I also love like a good old fashioned piece of string, a trip wire. Like, I like that stuff.
Yeah. So welcome to But Am I Watching? I'm Melissa DeMonts. You are
just so happy to be here.
Megan Rinks.
I'm wearing green like money.
Money, money, money. We're giving a review of Mad Money.
So on this podcast, oftentimes this will be movies either one of us has seen, like we just had with that interaction about Home Alone. And there will be other times where we've heard about this movie and we've seen it. And this is one where neither of us have seen it. But like Melissa said at the start, this has every single element of something that we would love. So to say that I have to speak for both of us, I assume, I went in with incredibly high expectations and they were still blown out of the water.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got Diane Keaton and Queen Latifah there, I'm sat already, which I guess I was in college when this came out. So maybe I just missed it because I was graduating that year. So maybe that's why I missed it. But like, these are two of my favorites and they're also two of Megan's favorites, as we said earlier. So I think it was just I was looking up because I have been doing a Diane Keaton dive into movies over the last couple years. And this was one of them that I had not seen.
I never even heard of it. I didn't even see the poster. Like, I had no idea that this came out.
So after her husband loses his job, Bridget Cardigan, which I thought was great, a great name for Diane Keaton. That was her last name. Yeah, because he, when the guy that's like the boss at the bank comes out, he kept going Cardigan, and I was like,
yeah, I was like, I think it's more of a blazer that she was wearing.
Yeah,
but okay,
I was so confused, but yes, is a educated woman who has been working from the home because her husband was rich, who is played by Ted Danson, who I thought looked hot in this movie.
Okay.
Not gonna lie.
Text your sister that, not me. So Melissa's sister loves old white men. Mm-hmm. I've learned a fun fact about Ted Danson. I don't know if you know this. Ted Danson has been bald like his entire acting career. So that was a
you
wig.
Said last week that man that wears, because we weren't even talking about this movie, we were talking about something else. We were talking about The Good Place, I believe, and you said that man that wears wigs, and I was like, who the fuck are you talking about?
Ted Danson.
I've always thought he's just had a great head of hair.
Me too. So he apparently he was even wearing a hairpiece in like Cheers. Like,
well, I can believe that in Cheers was a hairpiece, but once he went gray,
nope, still
because you can see all his scalp. That is a great hairpiece.
I know. He's been bald his entire. There's like someone like was watching something with like their mom who was like in their like 70s or 80s or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, he's wearing a hairpiece," and they were like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "No, like he's only has like a couple early projects with his like original hair and hairline, and then they did a whole deep dive, and it's true." Allegedly.
So they're facing financial trouble. They're like, I think they said $80,000 in debt or
$250,000.
They're $250,000 in debt. He's like, we need to sell the house, and she's like, I'm getting a job. I don't want to lose my status.
A beautiful house, and it is It's so
in
funny
Kansas City.
that still Diane Keaton's contract of must have a beautiful home and beautiful kitchen still rings true when she's going through hard times.
Yep. So she takes a custodial job at the Federal Reserve after she didn't pay her housekeeper. And she was like, I can come clean your house for you as a trade-off.
She's like, bitch, my house is clean.
Right. Like, you can just clean your own house. Exactly. Pay me my money.
And unfortunately, the housekeeper couldn't get this job. And it was great. It had benefits, couldn't get this job because they have to make sure you don't have a criminal record because it's a little bit more of a security risk. And she does find out that her housekeeper committed arson. Which can I just say, this was a fantastic script.
I loved it too.
It was written so well.
It was directed by the woman who wrote Thelma and Louise. Yeah. Wrote and directed too. Who wrote it though? No, it was written by Glenn Gers. So it was directed by Callie Curry. But so she takes a custodial job at the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. There she realizes that worn out cash is regularly shredded and destroyed. Seeing this as an opportunity, she's like, I feel like I could get that money. And so she recruits Nina Brewster, which is Queen Latifah, who's a single mom struggling to make ends meet. And also she just like really wants her kids to go to private school. And then Jackie Truman, played by Katie Holmes, who's a carefree young woman. And so they plot to steal the money.
It's impeccably done. I wish people still made movies like this because the pacing is fucking perfect. There's like not a moment where you're like waiting the lull to breathe. Like I love movies that are realistic. I love movies that are like, okay, you can feel like, I love movies like The Spectacular Now where like the scenes are like long and extended and drawn out and they like make you feel fucking uncomfortable. But like, I also need movies that are like punchy and cinematic and like montage and the music and everything is done so well that you feel like you're on the ride with this. And to me, that's what makes a good heist movie is like from the start, there's like no moment of dead air. There's no dead space. They like just get into it. And I did immediately Google if this was directed by a woman after we were introduced to all three characters, and all three of them were going through their own struggles in life, but they were all still had cute outfits, had earrings in, had makeup done, and looked nice. And I said, this was directed by a woman because when men make movies about women who are going through tough times, they do need you to look like that on your face. They have this idea of what like women struggling looks like. And no, you can be a woman struggling and you can have chunky highlights. You can be a woman struggling and you can still have a curling rod iron that you have made to have big bouncy curls. You can still have a cute little wrap top. Like there's just something visually nice about it too, because they all had three distinct styles and like their chemistry was unbelievable together. I hope they still hang out. Well, Megan, don't make me cry. Yeah, so Maud started talking in the past tense while we were watching, and I paused and I said, present tense only. Present tense only. Okay, so now looking at the year that this came out, this is recession core. I wonder if this movie did not perform as well because it did feel a little too close to home. Maybe. That's a good point. It's the same theory that I have why Sex Tape didn't do well, because it was right after the Sony leak. So it felt like, again, a little too on the nose for something like that serious that was happening. But I like some of the lines where they talk about like crime is contagious. I was like, ooh, like everything was just like so punchy in how they did it. And like the fact that like ultimately like there was a whole through line conversation about like capitalism in this as well. Yes. Yeah. And I loved it. Ah. Yeah. So when this movie first came out, critics were very largely unimpressed by it. The film received mostly negative reviews, with many calling it predictable and lacking sharp humor or tension expected from a heist movie, which I completely disagree with. No, the issue that they have is that there are women on screen. Yeah. That's the issue, because it has everything a good heist movie has. And specifically, I want to point out what Mott said. He paused the movie and he turns to me so serious. He goes, Den of Thieves stole this movie's entire plot. And I was like, what? And he goes, Den of Thieves is a direct ripoff of this. Like, they just stole this and made it with men. And that's what the first Den of Thieves movie is. And I was like, wow. And Den of Thieves, much, much better received. And they make it darker and grungier. But he was like, no, this is entirely a ripoff. Like, Den of Thieves ripped off this.
I haven't seen Den of Thieves, but I feel like it's a movie I would enjoy.
The first one I don't love. Den of Thieves Pantera, I like a little bit more. Or maybe that's the third one. Maybe I like the first one and the second one's a little. But
yeah. Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars, noting that the premise had potential, but that the movie felt flat and formulaic.
I did actually go on a deep dive of him. I've been calling him Roger Egbert, which and I know this man is dead, but like I haven't, he's my new enemy. Like, I was just looking at all of the shit that he ranked, like movies that he loves and the great ones, and then ones that he ranks poorly. Makes me so mad. Matsu didn't know what Yaya Sisterhood, what's the, you know the movie I'm talking about? And I was telling Mats about it. I was like, oh, it was like, for Marin Moms, it was like Eat, Pray, Love before Eat, Pray, Love. Like, it was like a big movie, big moment. And I like looked at what he said, and Mats was like, do you have any interest in watching it? I was like, no. And he said something like so nasty about it, and like specifically women about it, that I was like, now I want to watch this movie. Like, the way that anything that's starring a woman, that he's like, ugh, hated this. And the movies he does love that women are in, $1 Million Baby. He wants to see a woman struggle.
Yeah.
He wants to see a woman struggle. I think Monster Ball. I'm like, okay, you love to see a struggle.
Yeah, he also said that the characters weren't fully developed, which I completely disagree with. We knew who each one of these women were.
And they were so distinct, like so distinct from each other. And like, even their dialogue, and that to me is like the sign of a really good script, is when 3 characters they speak differently, like, and how they convey their points and all of this. It's not just like 2 bitches staring at each other going, absolutely, yes, exactly. Right. Like, they have, their communication styles are different, and their senses of humor and like how they deliver the jokes and the punches. It was impeccably cast. So many things like made me laugh out loud that like I had to like pause, rewind. Also, I did not know Diane Keaton was, I knew she was obviously funny, but specifically the physical comedy of her in this.
I feel like you haven't seen a lot of her. I know you haven't seen a lot of her later comedies, because it is very much physical comedy.
I was going to say, the physical comedy of this was a whole other level. Her running this cart around and like,
she was running with that cart.
But her whipping her body around these corners, and like the cart going first and her body going, like, she was just so funny in it.
Yeah. I think First Wives Club, though, she's using a lot of her body.
I put that on the list. I already put it on the list. We did
talk about it, but I thought that you... Okay. No. Okay. We're okay. January, that's going to be the first movie we watch in January.
Okay.
Also, Variety called it a lightweight caper with a heavy-handed message, which I disagree with. But maybe that's because they were going through a financial
I think
crisis at the time.
We're a little too sensitive about it, because, and like, even like aspects of like dabbling on, like discussing like race and like like the difference of like getting a guilty all of this stuff, that it was done in a way that was not the exact opposite of being like heavy-handed. Like, it was done in a way that felt so factual, but like natural, and not a forced conversation, like coming up so naturally, moving on from the conversation, bringing it, like whatever it was, that like, to me, this is, it still like stands the test of time. Like, this is still like a movie that I think being made today, I think it might have actually done a lot better than it did when it came out. But like, it stands up to this 100%. Yep. I have to say, there's also something that like I didn't know I loved about, like, that I didn't know that I loved in movies. But when they make like a joke or a reference, or like there's a bit that you're like, oh no, these characters don't know the actual real thing, and then they just move on and they never find that out, is actually funny. So when she is diabetic, Katie Holmes' character.
Oh, yeah.
And they are like, they could be like,
you got to get off the drugs.
You got to get off the drugs. Like, hey, it's not our business, but like, you can keep doing your drugs.
Yeah.
And if it gets in the way, we're going to have a problem and we're going to be done. And it's not like they're ruling her out from being a part of this plan because in their mind, they think she's addicted to drugs. They're like, okay, as of now, you seem like you're managing your addiction fine. If it ever gets dicey, then we're out.
Yeah, and she's always bopping around. So I think they think like that's part of it. But no, she's just like a carefree, like happy
she's a carefree diabetic.
Yeah.
And so when her purse falls out in the syringes, I said, oh, diabetic. And I wondered if they were going to be like, oh, no, we like, your blood, if your diabetes isn't under control, maybe there's a variable here that's too stressful. They go immediately to, no, she is an intravenous drug user. And I'm like, okay.
And then we cut to a scene where she's being interrogated. And she was like, I didn't correct them. I just like that they cared.
She goes, it felt really sweet. They, they really cared about me. Like, it was like an intervention.
And we never touch on it
never again. And I thought that
was there wasn't even a part where she was like,
my blood sugar's
low. I need something to eat. Like, never. We never talked about it again.
And that was so funny to me, though. I did write down about saying, why the hell, though, did she say that she has early onset diabetes? That's not what it's called. That was the only thing that I was like, okay, this is taking me out of the timeline. She's got juvenile diabetes. That's what that is. She was diagnosed at 7. She has an early onset. That's just when she got diabetes. Like, this is
I just chalked it up to the character.
But it was just so funny. And like the idea that these two women who are smart enough to come up with this plan to do this, which I love how they keep repeating, being like, this isn't hard. Like, this seems like obvious. It doesn't seem like this is going to be too hard to do. But that they think that the girl who is getting her bag searched every single day has a bunch of needles in her bag.
Right. That is a good point, Megan. And I'm just good point.
Do you think the feds don't care? You think they think she's shooting up in the bathroom at work? Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, if they can't. And I was like, okay, it just made me laugh so hard that we never got a callback to it at all. Like, for all we know, those characters are like, hey, she's been living with this addiction for a long time. Mm-hmm. Like, they have no idea. And I think that's so funny.
So USA Today praised the chemistry between everybody, but said it squanders their talent on an implausible and uneven story. It's plausible because it's based on a true story. So Mad Money is actually a remake of a 2001 British television movie called Hot Money. And they share the same core premise of women working at a bank who decide to steal money destined for destruction. But Hot Money is a direct call to, in the 1980s, several female cleaners working at the Bank of England cash destruction plant in Essex discovered old banknotes marked for incineration were still perfectly usable, just withdrawn from circulation. So their job was to clean the secure facility where the old currency was burned. And over time, they realized that the system wasn't being closely monitored and that it was possible to pocket small amounts of cash before it was destroyed. And at first, they took small sums to help pay bills and debts. But as the theft continued, it grew into a massive operation that lasted for years.
Oh my God, they didn't even let our girls get away.
Yeah, with hundreds of thousands of pounds stolen. And even after this happened, and they did go to jail, some of them, the ones that got caught went to jail. The public was like, they did what they needed to do.
Well, so I have to ask you, when they do this whole setup of the movie, I immediately was like, yeah, I'd steal them too. Like, yeah, this is money. And like, I did write down Mad Money invented girl math. Because it was very much being like, it's free money. It's literally free money. Like, this is money that they're taking out of circulation. They're printing new money. This money no longer exists to them. This doesn't affect anything. And so when he's like, the yen, like, what if this like tanks everything? And it's like, okay, first of all, we're in a fucking recession. Shit's already bad. But also, like, it's already done. It's already done. This money is like this. It did remind me of my science project in, gotta be elementary school. Because they talk about how, like, money is disgusting. Like, these bills are disgusting. And the grime, and because they're not like torn bills, like they're bills that are still readable and usable, but they're like on the very end of the brink of being able to be readable and usable. And that's from, like, wear and tear. They're cloth aspects of it. So it did remind me of my science project where we had to come up with a hypothesis, and everybody always talked about how like pennies, like, oh, don't pick a penny off of the ground even though it's lucky. Like they're so disgusting. They're so gross. But everybody would pick up, like if you saw $1 on the ground, you'd pick it up, but you wouldn't pick up a penny. And the reason you wouldn't pick up a penny, you're like, oh, it's so gross. But $1, you're like, oh, but it's a whole ass dollar. So my science experiment was to see what coins are the dirtiest or what money on the ground is the dirtiest. And pennies were actually like not in fact that dirty. Like they don't hold on to as much of that kind of stuff. But the dollar bills, $5 bills, and I think $20 bills, not tens. I think tens were exempt from it, were as dirty as I went to a gas station bathroom and did like a petri dish on like the ground and stuff. And like every dollar bill I picked up had E. coli on it.
Disgusting.
Yeah. So it reminded me of my science experiment.
Probably also because dollar bills probably get passed around a lot more.
And they're porous, and like people keep them on their on their person a lot more. And like sometimes you'll put like $1 in your bra, like you'll put it in your like there's strip clubs, like you do all of that kind of stuff with it. Exactly. So that's why I think when people like roll up, factually, if you are going to snort something and use $1 to roll it up, you pick the higher number because those ones are less dirty. So pick it minimum. Actually, that's all you have. Pick a $100 bill. Ideally, a check.
Ideally, don't do it.
Yeah, ideally don't. And if you do, test it first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had fond memories of my science experiment.
I've been looking at a lot of petri dish content on TikTok lately.
There are certain things, if I could like make science just the parts of it I love, I'm looking through a microscope, I'm looking through a telescope, I've got a petri dish, and I've got those little droppers.
Yeah.
And I'm doing whatever the fuck I want to do with those things. And it's interesting.
It's very interesting. Also, as somebody who has an issue with how clean things are, but like seeing how different cleaners work and how fast they work, fascinating to me.
It's so, and like that's like a science that I'm like,
or disinfectants, I should say. Cleaners don't really clean anything.
No, they spread.
Yeah. What they do is like you do that to wipe things up, like you use that to wipe things up, but you should always go back over it with a disinfectant.
And even if you just use a cleaner, sometimes it can dilute the thing that's like,
and spread it,
which isn't necessarily great, but it's also, if you've got a concentration of something gross, having a one that can evaporate more like easily, it's very interesting. I also loved the subtle messaging of this, which was that like women, you have to work. You can't like rely on a man. You need to have a job. You need to have a backup plan. And like if a man tells you that the idea is bad or stupid, do it anyway. Like who fucking cares? They don't know shit. And like ultimately the downfall of this operation
is a man.
And I love that Diane Keaton, like she didn't let her husband's like ego, which he was like a moping baby the whole movie. And he was a perfect cast for this because like you could still find him lovable.
Moping baby a lot of times.
Yeah. And like still she's like, I'm still doing it. And like really you realize towards the end of the movie that the only reason why he's complaining is because he didn't come up with it himself. Like he's feeling emasculated and like, damn, my wife who is, I'm supposed to provide, I'm supposed to do all this stuff. Like she figured this out. Like I should have been able to figure any of this out.
He works in finance as well. And then when he does get a job later, because of the way that they're saying that they are able to still afford their house when everybody knows that their house was for sale, is that he's saying that he's been doing consulting work. So he's essentially taking credit. And then he gets a job later and he was like, you can stop doing what you're doing. It will be like a little, we won't be making as much money, but like you can stop. And she's like, I don't want to stop. This is my money. I don't want to stop.
And it does show how like money affects people differently. Like when you have like money has been for Diane Keaton's character, like money has been a like a luxury and a lifestyle, like keeping up with the Joneses. Like it's been like a lifestyle baseline.
Yeah.
And so for her, the greed creeps up because already what she needs to maintain her neighbors and where she's at is like a lot of fucking money. And so for her to feel like she's actually like, she's successfully gotten away with this heist, like she actually has to do more than just maintain the life that she already had. It's like she's going through all this effort, so she's got to do extra. She's got to get the $60,000 ring. She's got to do all of this kind of stuff. Versus
Which Queen Latifah, I gasped out loud when she flushed that down the toilet. But she was like, we cannot have any evidence. And it was a smart move, but it was still like, you just flushed $60,000 down the toilet.
I would have lost it. But then Queen has a line where she's like, I don't want things that I can't have. And even through this, the mentality of, and this is why you have like really rich people committing like tax evasion and stuff. Because like once you have your baseline needs met, then it becomes like an excess and everything is an excess. And then you're like, well, if I have this much, I don't want to give up any of it because you feel like you're so untouchable. Versus Queen Latifah's like, she's not spending extravagant. She's like so regimented about this. And like for her, it's like, this is for my kids to go to school.
Yep.
And that's
she got
it.
Like a bigger house and for her kids to go to school. And that literally was it.
And like nobody else would have known. And like she was keeping it quiet. And even Katie Holmes, like they're still living in a trailer. Like they still have all of this. And so they talk about like where the whole plan, Diane Keaton, like she hatched the plan when like shopping at Home Depot. And it was like, you have all of these things that you're looking at here. But when you see them all like lit up and in a display and all of this, you like start feeling resentful because you're like, well, I already have this. But even if I didn't have this, I can't buy this now. And I thought it was so smart to have her be the ringleader and that to be her backstory. Because without a doubt, that's who gets like caught up in the money is the person who money has just been a given in their life. And then when this is like a cheat code, this is how I got it. This is what's going on. Like, and also she feels untouchable, which ultimately helps them in the end. But that's I think a great through line for this. Also because like she's so unsuspecting in her. Do you know the meme trench coat buttoned all the way to the top?
Yep.
That's how I felt as soon as she came out in her little work custodial uniform. I said, because she didn't even know you could button that trench coat all the way to the top. Yeah, she gave it a
little flare, a
little like asymmetrical high neckline, and I was like, didn't even know that was possible. You must have sewn an entirely additional button there.
One of my favorite themes about this is the female friendship and solidarity, because like at the heart of the film, this is about women coming together, and also they're men falling in line. Like there was a point where they're just, after they've gotten a certain amount of money, everybody's just going out to dinner. Like it's not, I thought it was going to be one of those things from how it started where how he was like shredding the money in the toilet, how Ted Danson was. And I thought the men were going to be mad, like that everything was happening. But it was more like, this is a family business. We're all working together. Even like Queen Latifah, one thing, every man, and even Katie Holmes was hitting on her at the beginning. No. Every man loved Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
In this film. But, and there was one that she actually liked, but like she was so focused on.
It was very Last Holiday.
Yeah. So focused on her work. It was also, the other women were like, you haven't had sex in 7 years. And
they're like, it's like riding a bicycle upside down.
Yeah. It was an ongoing joke until she got with her eventually husband. But I just like that each man, like once they got into what was happening, even hers who worked at the bank itself and was a security guard, they were able to, which he figured out what was happening when they were acting weird and lost the key and stuff.
But also because he likes her, so he looks at her boobs, and her boobs look different that day because there was cash in them. They were a little square and boxy.
Yeah. And so he was like, when he found out, like, they were like, you got to take one for the team and start fucking him.
It was when they said, they're like, well, do you know that? She's like, I'm sorry, what do you call it when you exchange sex for money? And she goes, advertising.
Right. And they're like, women have been doing this for years. Like, you need to get in line. If it was me, I would do it. He's hot. Like,
yeah, I was like, first of all, don't even have to pay me. Like, he's so cute. Moss was asking, he was like, what is up with these security guards? And I said, oh, have you actually never been in a building with women and security guards? This is the personality type of security guards. He was like, are you kidding? I was like, no. He goes, they just talk like that? I go, yes.
Yeah. But the specific one that she gets with is not like the other guys.
And also I will say,
he's not like the other boys.
They also happen to both be hot in this movie. In general, how the other one acts is how all security guards act, and like they're not hot usually. This makes it a little bit more like ha hee hee ha ha.
Yeah.
But the
Even
other guy,
the boss like zoomed in on her boobs at one point.
I know.
Ugh. But with him, even after that happened, he was like, I don't want to have sex with her. And then they were like, damn.
Like, shit, we really misread those signals.
Right.
Like, I thought he was into you. And they're like, so sorry, girl. That is embarrassing. My gosh.
Ugh. But then Diane Keaton was like, no, he's like, you're worth more than that. He doesn't want to be bought in or brought in to have, and like, sex is not on the table. So I even thought that was sweet.
Yeah, like there was so many like unlikely sweet moments like that I thought was just like so well done. And again, like so clear that there were so many women involved in making this, because like they're like, even just like how they're looking at each other when like something's awry. Mats had said that he was like the Katie Holmes character when she was like, I have a bad feeling. Mats was like, he's like, that would be you. Like without it, I was like, oh, 100%. If I had a bad feeling, I'm saying we're not acting on it. And then when she had the bad feeling and they were like, we were supposed to do this today, the first day of the robbing. And then they have random full body searches that day. And it was like, oh, quirky girl who we think is on drugs. She's got, the third eye.
Yes,
she's a little perceptive. It's opened up her chakras. Yeah. So I also was obsessed with the line where she turns to her husband, she goes, are you so proud of me? Like, aren't you proud of, like, and I was like, this is exactly what I would do if I had robbed the Federal Reserve and came home and told Mom, and he was a little stressed. I go, come on, aren't you proud? Like, this is so impressive. And I just love how it's like simultaneously like this big thing that they did, and they know it's dangerous and they know that this is like serious. But also like, they're kind of like, oh my God, go us. Like we just like kicked ass, especially because so much of, besides them, they're like some of the only women, and it's the custodial staff and I guess they're all technically in custodial, just in different departments of it. All the rest of it is they're working with these fucking men who like think they're so smart and all of this kind of stuff. And so like there was something so relatable. I've never stolen from the Federal Reserve, but there was something like so nice and relatable about like the only women like coming together for this thing, accomplishing it, and then getting away with it in a community or in an area with all of these men who think they're so fucking smart that you're like, I have to go tell the one man that I can tolerate what I just did, because I need him to know how smart I am.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that scene when Ted Danson walked in on them, like having fun, and they're all like giggling and stuff. And then his face, he's good at facial expressions like that turn in a good place when, like, he's so good at that. But then he realizes, but he immediately gets on board and is like telling them how they need to finesse everything.
Yep. So I was trying to do the calculations of how much they would have, like, how much they would have stolen at the point where before this was before, what's his name? Billy? Buddy? Barry. Billy Buddy Blah. Bear, before he is on board, Queen Latifah's eventual husband. So when he was like, you guys have to stop, and she was like, no, we can't stop. I don't want to stop. So I was trying to do the calculations, and Mott said he thinks from his calculations, from what they were like, said in the movie, it would have been over $810,000.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so, this is how you know that they were going to get caught, though, because in general, how you heist, big amount, one time, disappeared, never again. Even stealing small increments over like a period of 4 years, that is like you just have to be so much more meticulous and careful with how you do it. But I loved how they were like, no one checks the trash. And I was like,
nobody checks the trash. And even when they do get caught, they get caught because Katie Holmes' husband, who has been learning about investments from Ted Danson, he did $10,000 at a time, and and Ted Danson had been saying, don't do that. But we never saw him say that too.
Yep. And I was like, Ted Danson, all you had, your one job was telling people what their roles were and all that shit. And I never saw you tell him that. You told everyone else that.
Yep, you didn't tell him. And so and the thing that we also there's like nobody that's like dumb that's part like in this thing, because even though he did invest more than he was supposed to, his returns were incredible.
Moss was like, whoa, 17% return.
Yeah.
Damn, but like, nah, this is good.
Yeah. So he was making smart as well while he was working the stock market. He was doing that in a smart way. But
with money that you shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah. He should have kept it under 10K.
I did have a sad realization for me personally in my future with heists. I would be screwed because when they have to remember the number of the exact like bin that they need to get to, that's the one that they can rob, because they can't just rob any of them. It's a whole thing with a lock mechanism. I would be so fucked because the only way I can remember specifically, like, this is a sequence of 4. A sequence of 4, the only way I can remember it is if I am saying those numbers out loud the whole time. And unfortunately, I have it on video that I've done it before where I'm trying to remember something as I'm like measuring. I think it was when I was doing the peel and stick tiles in our kitchen. And somehow, while I'm editing the videos, it was like well over a year ago, it goes from like these 4 numbers. And as I keep repeating, completely morphs into different numbers.
I think this would save you though, because they are shredding paper. So I think you could have a little, like, if you're the person at the end, you could have the paper and then it would be shredded immediately. Yeah,
that's what I would have to do. But it's kind of the same realization I had that I'm probably never going to go to space, which again, I don't want to go to space, but I'm just never going to be an astronaut, which I don't even think I want to do. But now it's no longer an option. And that's sad.
There are other ways that you can get to just the tip of space.
But that's what I don't want to do. That's what I'm saying. Like, the idea that, like, if I wanted to be an astronaut, like, ship has already sailed, quite literally. Like, too late. I also love about this, which I will give some of the critics this, but to me, it's a positive and they framed it as a negative. Despite this being a heist movie, a steal the money movie, it's not intensely stressful. And that some people don't like. I like that because that's the movie that was sold to me. This movie wasn't sold to me or like promoted in a way of like, a single mom of 2 sons who's trying to get them into like, I don't want to watch her life explode. I don't want to watch her like get sent. I don't want to watch that like level of consequence. Like, I want this to be, and also like, if this is supposed to be like a stealing small amounts over the course of years, it actually can't be that stressful.
No, this happened over 3 years.
Yeah, like, their cortisol, they have to be able to go to work. They have to be able to do this. And this has to be something that is sustainable. And there are moments of it being stressful and like nerves and those kinds of things.
When they lost that key or threw it down the sink. Yeah. That was stressful.
It was. But like in those moments, there's no way.
Everybody was working together. I loved it. Even the men.
And then he lost his job and they're hanging out in the hammock together. I loved the part that made me laugh so hard, which I was like, God, she's so good. Just the line where she's trying to bring her the key and like throw it to her, to Queen Latifah. And she's like, who'd you pick for the playoffs?
Yeah.
And he's like, what
playoffs?
And she's like, I thought they were playoffs. Like, she plays the like kooky out there white lady, like, I'm just a little out, like, oh, I'm so silly, so well. And I love even more that he saw right through that and was like, this lady's acting weirder than normal. And that was right after that, right before he figured it out. But the chemistry between like everybody I thought was so well done. And also like there's none of the 3 leads auditioned for this, like without it. Like this was a packaged
this was
movie.
An offer. Yeah.
And I'm like, impressive that you could just put these people in a movie together and they would have insane chemistry like this.
Yeah. This was their first film.
No way. Wow. And ultimately, when we get to the part, that's the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. It was so well done because honestly, when the movie started, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, we know that they're going to get captured. But then like immediately, like my writer brain was like, no, there's going to be some twist. there's going to be some twist.
At first I told Mons, I said, do you think maybe they're not even at the police station? They're on a podcast? Because that doesn't look like a police mic. And those look like recording. Mons was like, no.
This is 2008, Megan.
I think that's just the room they happen to film this in. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I was like, maybe they're on a podcast. And they're talking about how I got away with it instead of like how it's made. They're like, how I did it, how I committed this crime. But I love that they even incorporate, like, they go to the same bar, like they have like, you know,
the bar that they initially met in, which the old man heard their plan from the beginning.
Yeah. He also heard about Queen Latifah, you know, selling her body for sex in exchange for money. And he said, these peanuts are on the house.
Yeah.
Take these ladies and these shots. But from that, I was like, we are seeing a lot of close-ups of this man. There's going to be something. There's going to be something that'll happen with this. But once we got to the part where the movie like starts and we're piecing all of this together, I like that it wasn't just what we saw at the beginning. Like we have like more things there. And so like there's like the whole bit with like Katie Holmes' husband where he's like, their drones are not drones. He said like planes are watching me or something. And she was like, okay, paranoid. And I was like, okay, for sure. This is, it is in fact giving, you know, conspiracy theorist, not so bright
works at a
husband.
meat plant.
And then when there's suddenly a helicopter, she goes, so now they're surveilling us. Now they're actually doing this. And I just like all of it was just, it was done well. It was exciting. They're all three getting rid of their money in different ways. Like we have three distinct locations of where they're at and where they live. And the kid being like, essentially being like, Mom, don't burn them. Like that's money. Like I'll take it. Don't burn it. What are you doing? And she's just doing all this. And then the arrest, which I had questions about almost immediately. But then I realized like Diane Keaton is escaping and she's abandoned them. And so then it feels like the interstitched like interviews that they are ratting her out the whole time. And I'm panicked, absolutely panicked until we get to, turns out she was getting everybody a lawyer. Yep. And that lawyer is played by that man who is in every single movie you've ever seen.
Playing the same character. Who we met at the very beginning because his wife is also the real estate agent too.
Yep. He is.
He's always playing that.
A principal, a superintendent, president, someone in a cabinet. So he's just that guy. Plays everything, and he is ironically a tax attorney.
But that's how he knows her husband. Like they run in the same circles.
Oh, yeah. So he shows up. They think, and this part I thought was so heartwarming when, and I mean, we've been talking about spoilers, but if you really don't want to hear at the end, but.
I think you should go into every episode expecting spoilers.
But so prior to this, Barry had told like Queen Latifah being like, someone's going to get a deal. It's whoever turns first. So like if you turn after the next person, you're not going to get anything. And like, you've got kids, they're going to send up, like, they're going to be, these are two white ladies. Like, they're not going to be as kind on you or on me. So like, but he knows he came into this late. This was her thing. And being like, you have got things, you've got people to protect. You should take the plea deal.
And that was her thing also from the very beginning too. It was like, I have kids.
I will kill you.
I will kill you. That was her line.
And she said, are you afraid of me? And she's like, she's like, good. Cause I will. And so then we find so it's been like she's been in holding, she's been waiting, double glass mirror. And then finally she's ready to turn. And the guy was like, someone already did. And it's like, well, fuck. And he's like, but, you know, ironic, like surprising enough.
Interesting deal.
Her terms of the deal was that she told us the whole plan. And the only thing that she asked for is you get full immunity. And it was like, we know it's Katie Holmes because Diane Keaton is not in these interviews. And I was like, wait, that's
so heartwarming.
So sweet. Like,
yeah.
And that was, she never had that conversation about like what she has to lose. She had that conversation with Diane Keaton. And like, it's just one of those things that it's like, as like women, you know, you have the most to lose. I don't need to convene with you. I don't need to have a conversation with you. I can put 2 and 2 together. I'm going to make these choices and these actions for this. And, you know, she talked about her hopes and dreams and she wants to travel. And I thought that was like a smart thing to include. It's like, she wants to get out of this small town, but finding out that they got caught, she's like, I will not only stay in this small town, I will stay behind bars as long as you and your kids are okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I was like, wow.
And that's why I don't understand why they were saying the characters weren't thought out, because we knew each one of their motivations.
Yes.
And it tracked throughout the whole film.
And like the whole thing of like Katie Holmes's character being more impulsive and just like being more rash, like she makes perfect sense for the person to be like, I want to get up and travel the world, but if I can't do that, I'm going to make another decision in a split second. I'm going to do it. Go, 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 go. And I just thought that was like so touching and like so sweet. And then we get Diane Keaton coming through and it's like,
and it looks like she's escaped. Like she's gone to a hotel. She's paying cash. They're like, do you have any, we need a credit card for incidental. She's like, puts a water glass on the desk. And the woman's like, okay, I got you. There won't be incidentals.
And so even her husband, it's like, yeah, seemingly she left me. And we think that that's what she's done. She's run, she's escaped. And again, she's the one who got the most money hungry. She's the one who wanted to keep pushing this. She's the one who like continued this on. And so it makes the most sense that she'd be the one to evade. But then she shows up with the lawyer who's there for everybody, who's like, they're recanting all of their statements, taking it all back.
Because there was not a lawyer present when they were being interrogated.
Yep. And then we get to, hey, and this is what I kept asking Mods during this time. I was like, so I know what they did was illegal, but they haven't shown any like security footage of them doing anything. So like this sounds like hearsay. Like this sounds like I don't know what material evidence that they have of this. And then they bring that up is that they have nothing. And it's like you want to say that these 4 women who work in custodial have been stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from over the course of 4 years that never got flagged.
3 years, but yeah. And then their boss, who is so like everything really hangs on him essentially, and he knows that if he admits that money has been missing, which they don't have any record of, but if he admits that this could have happened, then this will be like the end of the Federal Reserve as they know it. And that means that he has not been running a tight enough ship. He's like, it didn't happen. Like, my hands are clean. And then they're all good.
Except the catch, which I did have more questions about. And that was that they hadn't paid taxes on the money. How do they know how much money they have to pay in back taxes and fines if they don't know how much money they stole? So I have to assume it's the money that was spent that was within this time period of doing this. And the whole time that's happening, and it was like, okay, you know, they got away with it, sure, but now they have to pay all this money back and the fine. So any money that they have left is going to be gone.
And we also should point out that Ted Danson has also set up his business and has made them employees of the business. That business that he was doing. And so that's how they were running money through to clean their money.
Oh, I don't think
there was
I
a
even realized
small
that.
Conversation about that. I think it was when they were having dinner. But that's that consulting business that he had. Then they were all employees of.
So the whole time that's going on, I'm like, for sure. But like, you know, when she tried to like bring initially when Diane Keaton was like going to go put the money in the bank, I was like, if it was me, I would just I would keep the cash in a fireproof safe. Like I would spend the cash or keep the cash. I'm not putting the cash in my bank account necessarily.
But there has to be a record of them getting the money and able to spend in order to spend the money out. Unless they're just paying for everything in cash, but they can't do that like with a mortgage.
No,
they
I know.
have to clean the money somehow.
That's what Mats was saying. And I was like, okay, so, but then when he said that, I said, but not all the money. You wouldn't have to do that for all the money. And he was like, no, you could still keep some cash. And as a girl who was raised by a man who keeps money in a bean can of beans, I'm like, there's money here somewhere. There's still money here somewhere. And when they all meet up again,
and they take note that the place looks nicer, the place that they always go, their initial meeting spot, they're like, the place looks nice, and he's like, thanks.
And also, you'll notice the place empty. Just them and him. And you're like, sounds a little odd. What is it? Just so happens to be there's no other patrons, or is this shut down? So it's only them there. And they're talking about like, you know, what they're going to do. And Queen Latifah talks about, you know, they went on their honeymoon. It was only 2 days, but it was so great. But they're sharing a 2-bedroom apartment with her 2 kids and her now husband. And like, this shit is hard. And Katie Holmes talks about how her husband, he got a new job and she's a waitress. And like
he's back at the meat plant.
Yeah. And everybody's at this, like, you know, we're where we were before, but like where we were before wasn't the worst thing in the world. And like our lives have like improved that time period. It wasn't like detrimental to us because again, they just had to essentially give back everything that they had. They didn't have to like, they're not in debt now.
Right.
They just start back to 0 or whatever. And so that was like, you know, it was still a happy ending to me. Like it was still sweet. And then we get to Diane Keaton, who's like, you know, we're moving to the Bahamas. As soon as she said Bahamas, I said, someone's trying not to pay the taxes. And then she said, but, you know, we're waiting till it's not so hot. And they're like, hot? Are we starting another heist? And then Katie Holmes was like,
because they were also trying to like, Katie Holmes' husband had said something earlier, like we could move some, he wanted to do some scam with the meat that he was getting. And Diane Keaton was a little interested.
Yes, which I did note that I would love a beefquel. Yeah. We need a beefquel. The sequel about beef. The beefquel. I'm hooked. I'm ready. We are doing reboots decades later. And like, I think it's time. So when she mentions that, they're like, what are you talking about? Like, you're starting a bed and breakfast with like, and waiting until it's not so hot in the sense of like, you know, Fed's eyes on you. What are we talking about? And she leads them to the storage room of
the
this
refrigerator.
bar. Yes.
Which is cold. I thought I liked the juxtaposition.
Oh, I didn't think of that. She leaves them in there. And where we might think we're seeing crates of, you know, wine, beer, other kinds of spirits, alcohol, or nuts, crackers. Instead, we're seeing very square garbage bags, stacked and stacked and stacked and lining the walls. And then a couple of things that we assume are kegs. And she opens them and shows the girls that they still got
money. We got lots and lots and lots of money. And we get another rain sequence. Like we've had a couple of them before. And I'm just like, I love the note that this ended on. They got away with it. And then they also still have money. And this time they're going to be smarter with it.
And the faults that they had are in fact the men in this situation. And this is why my thesis has always been, you see a heist and you see people got away with it, there is a woman or multiple women involved in that.
Yep.
Like there is something about like being so aware of how you are perceived and like so underestimated and all of these different things, but also having to watch everything what you say, safety, all of these things you have to be cognizant of as a woman, just like living your everyday life directly translates into an intricate planning and like thinking of different outcomes and risk assessment.
Yep.
I was like, this is just so fun. And also like, I know if I happen to come into a lot of cash, I would also like to throw it in the air and dance under it.
Of course.
It's like those magazine sales that we had at like school where it's like, if you like reached a certain level, you could like get in this like little inflatable box and they would like put money in it and you could like grab it and keep it. I never got to that level. But I just like, I love this because it did feel like they were caught on a loophole. And I'm like, there's got to be another loophole because you have to know the possibility of this. And it felt, again, perfect that she was the one hoarding the money. And
such a satisfying ending.
Yes. And like that seemingly that she's been giving a cut to this bar owner the whole time because he's been storing this and he's been obviously like, he's been taking a risk by keeping it. But the amount that she has means that every time they've stolen, she's brought cash there in her little purse that she brings everywhere with her, that every single time she's been giving more money. And he's also, and every time he keeps saying, these are on the house, and he'd smile. And I'm like, they were on the money that they gave you. They were never on the house.
They were never on the house. But this is a man that can keep his fucking mouth shut.
Yep. Yep. And I think he should be in the beef quote. I loved this movie. Oh, don't tell me.
Might not also be with us either.
Don't do
He's
this.
pretty old.
Okay, don't talk about it.
Okay.
Let me live in my bequel fantasy.
Okay.
I forgot the F in that one. I said a bequel. A beef.
It's an animated series. And we can still
Beefquel?
have Diane. No. Yeah, the Beef will be a animated series, so we can still have Diane Keaton in it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I just this was a perfect movie. I loved it. There's I stand by that there's nothing wrong with this movie.
No, I thought this was a wonderful film.
It's a perfectly done, well executed movie. It's funny. The script is great. Every actor in it is so funny. And the way that the pacing of it moves along, that you are laughing and then they've already moved on to something else.
Mm-hmm.
They never beat a dead horse. It is so punchy and it moves so well. You can follow it, but it's also quick and you have to keep up. The soundtrack is great. The outfits are great.
While they're sitting, Ted Danson and Katie Holmes' husband, while they're sitting outside, a gospel song is playing. Melissa, I said, what?
As soon as that happened, I said,
well-known gospel song. I said, why is this song here? But the soundtrack was perfect.
It was. And as soon as that happened, I said, it's like they knew that was the only thing that was missing from this movie for me. That was now you've done it. Now you've checked off every single box that I'm
even the song that it ends with is perfect.
It was so good, and their chemistry all together, and just the story in itself. There are so many heist movies that they portray themselves as heist movies, but they're not fucking heist movies, or the circumstances are really dire and really hard and really sad. And this was something that it had a realistic sense of risk, of gain, of consequences, of all of this kind of stuff, but not a disproportionate level of results of it. I hate when those movies are well, this is the worst thing that could happen. And then what actually happens is something that's so much worse that I'm these people would have thought of that if that was actually the worst possible case scenario.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, this is ordinary women. They're all from different walks of life, but they're all ordinary women who find their power, their purpose, and connection in an unjust system. That would be my ending tag for it.
Yeah, it's a wonderful commentary on capitalism, on female friendships, on why men are the downfall of absolutely everything, which now we're 2 for 2 of movies where men are just a problem. And yeah, I love movies about women where you can tell the people who make them love women. And there's nothing more disappointing than when that feels like a director fumbles a story with that. And this was just so well thought out. And I can't believe this movie is not a massive cult classic. It should be huge.
Hopefully maybe we'll spread the word and then people will watch it. Please,
everyone. It's phenomenal. We watched it. I watched it on HBO.
I watched it last night. I rented it, but I have it in my Amazon cart. I'm gonna start buying the movies that we're talking about because
get people paid.
Digital stuff is getting taken away all the time.
I want to buy this on DVD.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm buying. It's in my cart on Amazon to buy the DVD of it. It's only $10.
I'm just
moving, so I just don't want it to get
smart. I also would love to see Katie Holmes in another acting. I've never seen her act in my life.
I feel like the only other thing I've seen her in was Dawson's Creek, and that show was so slow and dramatic.
Is it about someone named Dawson, or is it the location where they live?
No, Dawson is the main character.
Oh, so what's the creek for?
He has to move. It's a town that's split by a creek, so he has to sometimes he has to get on the creek to go to the other side of town.
That sounds like a river.
It's just a creek.
It's just a creek? I grew up in, that's what Marin is, just specifically the town I grew up in. Creek everywhere. You got to cross the creek, walk through the creek, get some crawdads in the creek.
So it's little boat. It's not like a little paddle boat.
That's a big ass creek. Or maybe it's just deep.
I don't know.
But she's in another movie that I saw on TikTok, you know, when I was watching my Good Doctor phase in like part 36, or that movie on the island. That's Stephen King? No. Maybe. The one where they age really fast.
Yeah. Old Island.
Old Island. I saw a clip of her in a movie that like she was like a murderous Amelia Bedelia kind of vibe. And I was like, that looks fun. And all of these movies were before Tom Cruise. And I'm hoping that if that's what she wants to do, that she gets back to it, because she was like, I sound like an old person saying this, but she was like darling in this.
You've seen something else that she's in, and I'm about to tell you. Poker Face. Yes,
The Funeral Home.
Yep.
Yeah, she's great.
She was really good in that episode. So
if anybody has, we will say that we went on our Patreon and we talked about it at length, and we now have 54 movies on our letterbox. If you search, it's on my letterbox. You can see it. It's a public list. You can see all of those. We've added a ton of them. If there's something that you're like, oh, you've got to watch this, or you've got to do XYZ or something, and it's not on here, we'll try and add it. But if it's specifically something that is themed, like holiday related, like a Christmas thing or whatever, let us know about that, because that is more timely.
What do you want to do next week? Because I picked this one, so you should pick the next one.
What do you think about doing Save the Last Dance?
Let's do Save the Last Dance.
Okay. Because I did it first. I was like, Vox was like, have you seen that? And I was like, well, and I started being like, I've seen Drumline. He goes, different movie. And I was like, I've also seen the one where they're on the scaffolding. And then I looked that up. That is Stomp the Yard. So those were the ones that I watched that I loved his dance movies.
Not even close to the same movies.
But like in the timeline, I was like, I think I just assumed that I was like, oh, it's just one of the other dance movies. And if I've only seen these ones, it's because I like those ones better. But I've never seen this.
Okay. We're watching Save the Last Dance next week. We're going to see a young Kerry Washington.
Yep. And if you guys are really nice to me, maybe I'll learn the dance that she does for a little.
That could be one of your Halloween costumes. You should save it.
I'll save it. I've also never seen the original Dirty Dancing.
I don't want to ever watch that again, to be honest.
But more importantly, have you seen Dirty Dancing Havana Nights, which is the better one? Me and Ivy used to watch that and just go so close to the TV and just stare at Diego Luna. It's phenomenal.
That's a beautiful man.
I've never seen the first one, ever. I think this is what started my love of sequels. Because I said, I'm sorry,
is it a direct sequel, or is it just
I would have no idea.
Take on it?
I would have no idea, because I've never seen the first one.
All right. Well, you've got homework for next week. What do you rate this movie?
Oh my God. I rate it, I'm feeling inspired. I want to rob, would steal from the Federal Reserve, 10 out of 10 padlocks, 10 out of 10 keys and gum, 100 out of 100 wads of cash. This is like, this to me, I'm adding this to list of not only Steal the Money movies. This is a Meghan movie. I'm going to watch this all the time. This is a perfect movie. I love this movie.
Yeah, I'll give it how much were they in debt?
250,000 something.
I'll give it $200,000 out of $200,000. Rest in power, Miss Diane Keaton, for giving us some of the greatest films of all time. Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, we'll see you on Monday for Don't Blame Me.
Bye. This is a Sister Sign production hosted by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Oh, the Regency era. You might know it as the time when Bridgerton takes place, or the time when Jane Austen wrote her books. But the Regency era was also an explosive time of social change, sex scandals, and maybe the worst king in British history. And on the Vulgar History podcast, we're going to be looking at the balls, the gowns, and all the scandal of the Regency era. Vulgar History is a women's history podcast, and our Regency era series will be focusing on the most rebellious women of this time. That includes Jane Austen herself, who is maybe more radical than you might have thought. We'll also be talking about queer icons like Anne Lister, Scientists like Mary Anning and Ada Lovelace, as well as other scandalous actresses, royal mistresses, rebellious princesses, and other lesser-known figures who made history happen in England in the Regency era. Listen to Vulgar History wherever you get podcasts.
From the parents behind Law & Order comes a mystery the whole family can enjoy. Patrick Picklebottom Everyday Mysteries. Step into the whimsical world of Patrick Picklebottom, a precocious 11-year-old with a love for reading and an uncanny ability to solve mysteries. Inspired by the beloved children's book of the same name, this podcast vividly brings Patrick's tales of deduction and everyday adventures to life as he unravels baffling enigmas and solves clever cases. Patrick Picklebottom Everyday Mysteries is perfect for kids and is just as entertaining for grown-ups who love a good mystery. The whole family can listen now, wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome and enter if you dare. Hi, I'm Hallie Keeper.
And I'm Allison Leiby. And together, we're the hosts of Ruined, a scary movie podcast where Hallie tells me the grisly details of a haunting new horror film each week.
Whether you're a terror hound like me or a scaredy cat like Allison, we've got so many thrills, chills, and obviously kills to share with you in every episode.
It's the podcast that'll have you saying, that was so funny. I should not have listened to it at night with all the lights off.
From the greats like The Exorcist and Poltergeist to modern classics such as Hereditary and Get Out to the freakiest new releases like A Quiet Place and Terrifier, we ruin them all and we'll leave you howling, mostly from laughter, sometimes because you're turning into a werewolf.
Ooh. Listen along as I try and guess the movie's twist, predict who will survive, and answer the hardest question of all. What would you do?
So please listen to new episodes of Ruined every Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And whatever you do, we're begging you, please
keep it spooky.